Okay, so here's our spoiler talk. This kind of has to do with nitpicky things. So it's not necessarily us that's nitpicking, it's us complaining about people nitpicking. So we have different opinions on things, and you kind of just get to watch us either debate amongst each other or debate with outward sources. So, here we go.
Tauriel! Oh my gosh. What I loved most about Tauriel, it had nothing to do with her being a girl. I know everyone's going on and on about how she's such a great female character. She didn't need to be a girl. She was just that great. There was no... But she was a girl. She was captain of the guard. Tauriel respected her and everything. It's just that the reason why he didn't want her to marry Legolas or lead Legolas on was because she was a peasant. She wasn't royalty. And Legolas was. So I really like how they handled that. And as an original character, she fits right in with the other Tolkien characters and the spirit of Tolkien.
The only thing that I noticed that a lot of people love Tauriel for the fact that she is a total BA girl. I think the biggest problem that people do have is the fact that she is the only prominent girl in the movie, and she becomes the love interest right away, and so they're kind of like, oh, I see how it is. You have a girl in your movie. You need to make her the love interest.
What I think people are kind of blowing that out of proportion. What I think it is, they're trying to show the generational gap of where Thorin and Tauriel are. They're on this generation, and they have the prejudices of elves and dwarves are evil. And Legolas, Keely, Feely, and Tauriel are on this generation, and they're younger, and they're starting to realize that these dwarves aren't that bad, elves aren't that bad. We can kind of respect them. That's where Legolas will go on into the Lord of the Rings and be like, oh, I'll fight with the dwarves.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason that Tauriel and then Legolas decides I'm going to go after Tauriel and go with her in her search for Keely, because it is the big generation gap. It's the he's like, okay, well, obviously she sees something, I don't care, but I care about her, but I'm going to go. But then somewhere along the way, it's just he, and I think that's something that we're going to see a lot more of in the third movie, is that we're going to get to see Legolas change. And then I don't want to, say anything, but I have, a very, very gut instinct that Tauriel will die in the next movie. And if she does die...
I want her to die. That will make the most sense. That will wrap things up.
And this coming from somebody who absolutely loves her.
I love Tauriel. I have a girl crush on Tauriel. I'm totally going to cosplay her for the next opening.
She loves her. She thinks she's the coolest elf
She is
ever.
so awesome.
So,
I gotta stop cosplaying Ginger Archer. So.
Yeah, goodness, you're right. That's a lot of ginger. But
what I liked... when they did the divergent scene where Keely and Philly and Beaufort and who else stayed? When they split up, and Feely gets mad at Thorin and says, "No, I belong with my brother," because Thorin said, "You're going to be king one day," and that's addressing how much what Thorin's priorities were. He cared about being king, being the riches. He cares about
taking back his homeland more than he does his kin, in actuality.
But Feely cared about Keely. So Feely stayed with Keely, and I really like that. I really like that his priorities were different than Thorin's. His was about family, and his was about the kingship, and that's kind of a foreshadowing of what's going to happen to Thorin.
It really is, because it kind of, I don't know, Thorin went from being semi-okay to, throughout the entire movie, I was nudging her, being like, he's being a bad husbando, because, he would try, and
Bilbo did so much for him.
Oh my goodness.
So much.
And then when he puts the sword out, and he's like, no, I don't believe you. I'm like, are you serious? After all he did, right before the keyhole, and he's like, nope, I can't get it. Rage quit. And then Bilbo's just like, y'all need to calm down. He just gets the thing, and then he figures it out.
I was pretty proud of myself, because the last light, I'm like, oh, it's the moon. And
she figured it out.
And I was like, the moon, it's the moon. And I'm like, where are you idiots going? You shouldn't give up like that.
And the part where they almost drop the key again, everybody just kind of, the whole theater just goes, because it's horribly frightening.
Yeah.
But no, that's something Thorin's character is just getting more and more angsty as things go along. And if we thought he was worse in the first movie, he's getting worse. And I just know that it's only a matter of time before the third movie that we know what happens between him and Bilbo and the Arkenstone. And I just don't know. I feel like people who ship Bilbo are just going to be in so much pain in the next movie. Enough on that subject. Tauriel, we like her. We think people are making too big of a deal between the fact that she's in there and the fact that she, is a love interest for one of the characters. And
I think that they're blowing the love interest out of proportion. I know Keely fell in love with her, but I felt like her interest in him was more curiosity than anything else. I just don't ship them that hard. I mean, I ship them, but it's just not this hardcore, oh, they're in love with each other.
I don't mind the romance being in there, and
it's only slight. And people are just, they're acting like that was the whole entire movie and that was her whole point. It's not.
I did get a little worried toward the end that we're going to kill him off early, and I was like, no, but then, you know, that scene happened where I said, "Aw, the love is so subtle," and then she goes, "She's freaking glowing," and so I'm just like, okay, not so subtle.
I wanted to know about the nut pillow. What was with the walnuts? Pillow.
I don't even know what that's about. The walnut pillow where Keeley wakes up and he's on a bunch of walnuts and everything. I'm just like,
yeah,
it's a snack and a pillow, I guess. Okay, so Smaug was shrouded in secrecy throughout the first movie until the trailer was released and we got to see his face.
Mm-hmm.
And as I had said in my video before, he looked absolutely amazing. He's everything I was hoping the dragon would be. And then by the time we saw him on screen, I was a little put back at first. I'm not going to lie.
I was a little disappointed. He was very brown. I mean, his head was great, but he was very, very brown.
What bothered me the most was he felt very thin. And I know he's played by Benedict Cumberbatch, but
he did look thin. But then when you would see him with Bilbo, and it's like, oh, you are pretty huge, but he does seem small. But I guess Tolkien's his original drawings has a very thin dragon.
Yeah, the dragon Tolkien had drawn was a more lithe dragon that you know, and although I did think that according to certain parts of the books, they had me believe that, you know, he was going to look almost exactly like the one Tolkien had drawn, which meant the hands and then the wings and everything. Yeah. But they pulled a little something on me that I did not see coming, that it actually had to grow on me. But it did grow on me before the movie even ended, so it took about 5 minutes to adjust to, and once it was over, I was good with it. I love Smaug the way he is. And that little tidbit that bothered me was the fact that his talons and his arm were attached to his wing. And the only reason I dislike that so much is because I felt his speech about his claws being like spears and his wings being a hurricane, it didn't have the same effect because he could not stab the ground and flap his wings at the same time. And also just, I don't know, the way when he was walking, it reminded me a lot of a bat.
Yeah.
And it bothered me just a bit, and it did have to grow on me because I like the idea of them prowling around with their claws and then having the wings in the back of them to use as they please. So... But I love dragons, and I'm pretty nitpicky like that, so...
Smaug looked best when he was flying, but when he was on the ground and talking to Bilbo, he looked just a little weird, because it looks like he's talking like this with his elbows out, but then he looks really good when he's flying.
Mm-hmm. That was my only problem with him. Essentially, everything else was great. His articulation being very... The way he speaks to Bilbo, the way he brings... The way he walks, talks, airs, everything about him... I loved, and I've been waiting for it because he's my favorite part of the entire thing.
Ben's speech pattern really did it. Like when he says hurricane, the theater shook a little bit, and it was just a really great.
It was very nice.
It was really awesome.
It was very nice.
The way they make him red is when he heats up to spit out fire. Like his scales will light up.
Yes.
The in between. The
idea of you can tell when he's about to.
So that's when the red comes from.
But no, I loved the fact that we could tell right that he's about to breathe fire because you can see it through his scales. You can see him churning it. You can see him heating up inside to the point where he's like, okay, y'all be ready because here it comes. And so he just...
And it makes a lot of logical sense. I mean, if you think about it, how would a dragon breathe fire? Can they just spit it out and it catches on fire or what? And he has to actually charge up and breathe fire. And I think that's an important part of why a dragon could breathe fire like that.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, Smaug, he took a little while to grow on me, but not long because I loved him and he's still my favorite part of the movie, so...
Yeah. The really only complaint was his wings are odd when he's not flying and he's very brown. Like, the trailer made him look like he was a shiny kind of black-red, but he's very brown.
I think the thing is, everybody thought he was going to be red, and then when he goes in and starts trampling on people in the first movie, you get the idea that he's kind of a bluish color, and then once we got the release of his face, he was back to being a dark red, black again, and so people were like, okay, well, he's a color-changing dragon, and then now he is a more, his scales kind of reflect in whatever it is he's near. So when he's in the throne room with all the gold, he's more of a brownish gold color. When he's out he can go dark blue. So I mean, his color changes based on his scales, and I really do think that's probably how some dragons would be. It would probably be a normal thing, is that they would, because they'd have to blend in with their surroundings to survive sometimes, so getting technical on you. Obviously, as I'm shooting this video, it's a Monday, and the premiere weekend has just ended, and due to that, we've had a lot of things that the movie did not do. As of right now, I'm saying that the records have been recorded, the box office records, and the movie has not done as good as the first one on opening weekend. And there were a lot of factors in that, whether we have several other really great movies out there right now, Catching Fire, Frozen. So obviously it's kind of, and then another thing is it was finals week, so a lot of people that are in college or in school, you know, can't go see it just yet. They can't until they're on break. And so as I'm recording this, yeah, the box office was still great. The Hobbit is the #1 movie right now. And here's hoping we get into the $1 billion club. $1 million club. My bad. Billion? Million. Let's get into that club, whatever it is. But yeah, hopefully we'll do better.
What kind of scares me about the next movie, it's set to come out on a Wednesday in December, and I'm just like, how are we going to do that? How are just people going to pull that off on a Wednesday?
Especially college students. We're college students, and it was already, we were lucky enough that my class ended early enough on a Thursday that we were able to.
And last year I had to talk a professor into giving me a test early. And
I had to take
scary.
a test, yes, that's right. When the first Hobbit came out, I had to take a test 2 days early. I had to take my exam 2 days early because that was the only way I could actually go see it. So I had to go schedule with my professor and be able to take my class exam 2 days early. And I rocked that, by the way. But still, it is really hard, so the idea of putting the movie out on a Wednesday almost makes it feel like it's going to be a little inaccessible to some people, and that's really scary. Because we want this movie we want the entire trilogy to do as well as possible, and we're hoping we'll still get to go see it midnight premiere, but there's no guarantee at this point.
And that semester we're supposed to graduate, so we're probably...
Yeah, we're supposed to be graduating, so...
Actually, if it's on a Wednesday night, and if we make it to the Wednesday night, we could actually probably graduate on the Friday.
I'm skipping graduation.
So am I.
Yeah,
we're terrible college
We pretty
students.
much told ourselves, we were like, yeah, no, it's either The Hobbit or graduating. It's going to be The Hobbit. It's going to be The Hobbit. So, yeah, that is our spoiler talk. We really just kind of wanted to address some things that we personally felt. So... yeah, that's about it. If you haven't seen our no spoiler and good review, that'll be down here. And we hope you guys will go see The Hobbit, or actually you've already seen it if you're watching the spoiler video most likely. So what did you guys think? What is something that really bugs you about the movie, or that bugs you that other people are nitpicking about the movie on? You know, so let us know, and we'll see you, or at least I'll see you next video. Bye.